want to thank Nancy Simpson, who sent us in a question to discuss on a video, and it was a great question. So Nancy, thank you. And here's the question she asked, is how to encourage ownership and accountability from employees. Not everyone has the same level of engagement. Is engagement a personality thing or a perceived expectation? And Nancy, again, thank you. That is a wonderful question, and it is one that we spend a tremendous amount of our time discussing and working with organizations around the country on. I think before I dive into the actual answer to that question, let's just make sure we're all speaking the same language when we say engagement. When we talk about an employee engagement, we're generally referring to the degree to which an employee is emotionally bought in and has ownership and is connected to the organization. In other words, their willingness to act and behave in ways that are in the best interest of the organization, that are helping move the organization forward, that are addressing the goals. So engagement, we would use words like commitment, ownership, buy-in, connection. That's typically what we're talking about when we're thinking about employee engagement. Well, one thing that we do know is that almost between 70 and 75% of employees in this country rate themselves as actively disengaged or disengaged, which means almost 2/3 or 3/4 of the employees in this country are saying, I really don't like where I work. Well, what are some of the things that lead to employee engagement? Well, some of the things that we know are things like, do they feel valued? Do they feel cared about? Do they feel like their opinion matters? Do they feel like people know that they're there and that the work they're doing is meaningful? That they've got someone that's giving them feedback and sharing progress and how they're doing. It's all sorts of things like that. So that being said, as we spend just a couple minutes talking about employee engagement, back to Nancy's question, is engagement a personality thing or a perceived expectation? And Nancy, the way I took that question also is perceived expectation of the employee. And I'm going to say that it's a little bit of both, I would suppose, in the sense that I think some individuals have personalities that are more inclined to being, let's say, optimistic or finding the good in things, that are more enthusiastic or energetic. They may have a greater propensity toward being engaged and committed. At the same time, I don't think it's fair to say that employee engagement is simply a personality thing. I think we could look at the different styles or personality preferences and styles, whether you use a Myers-Briggs, a DISC profile, whatever assessment you want to use. I don't think it's fair to say, if we were to say that it's a personality thing, then what we would be saying is that some personalities would be prone to being less engaged. And I don't think that's fair to say. I think whether you're introverted, extroverted, whether you're a feeling person, a thinking person, whether you're find yourself to be analytical and detail focused, or find yourself to be a quick decision maker or a slower decision maker, go through whatever kind of characteristics of personalities we might look at. I'm not sure any one of those are a great indicator of a person's ability or willingness to be engaged. So that being said, I would not associate it as much with a personality thing, although I think some personalities can make it a little bit easier. When we talk about a perceived expectation, I think that's more likely it. I think engagement, employee engagement, is really a perceived expectation of the employee. How do they see engagement? What does it take for them to be engaged? For every employee, it's different because we're motivated differently and we're different people. Personalities are different. At the same time, there's some core things that we know that lead to employee engagement. I listed some of those earlier. It's things like, are we as leaders, managers, supervisors investing into them? Are we giving them opportunities to grow? Are we giving them feedback, both positive feedback and critical feedback on how they're doing, progress on how they're doing? Are we giving them work that's meaningful to them? Do they know how they fit into the organization? For example, the mission of the organization, the strategic plan, the vision, all of those types of things that we create for an organization. Do the employees know how they fit and understand how important their role is, how it connects to the direction of where we're going? So I think all that to say, Nancy, my answer would be, I think it leans more toward that perceived expectation of employees. At the same time, I think we know because of research and experience, there are a number of core things that help lead to employee engagement. In other words, as an organization, we can affect it, we can influence it. So it's not just simply, I guess to some degree, the perceived expectation of an employee could then make it kind of a guessing game. It's not that. It's something we know things about and we know how to deal with it. We've got evidence in our own company and the work we've done with organizations. We have evidence of the things that we've helped organizations to implement. We've got evidence of leaders changing their behaviors and seeing the evidence of higher productivity, greater and better attendance, people that are more committed, engagement goes up, employee satisfaction goes up. We see errors or quality issues get better, errors decrease, waste decreases. We can look and see results as a result of better employee engagement. We also know that there's things we can do that increases employee engagement. So Nancy, again, thank you very much. A great question. I hope some of that's helpful and gives us some food to think on. Have a great day.